Good morning, friends. The world is loud. It demands attention, feeds our fears, and tempts us to place our confidence in things that fail. But Psalm 27 reminds us of a different reality, a truth that reshapes everything. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? These words are not a whisper of uncertainty, but a declaration of unshakable confidence. The world is filled with uncertainties, shadows of doubt, whispers of fear, and moments when faith feels fragile. Fear often seeks to take root in the heart, convincing the soul that it is alone, that the threats it faces are greater than the strength it possesses. But there is a truth far greater than fear itself. The Lord is our light and salvation. This is not a temporary reassurance, not a fleeting comfort, but a foundational reality that transforms the way we live. In the Bible we are said, "Do not be afraid, for I am with you." These words are not merely suggestions, but commands grounded in divine promise. Fear is not just an emotion, it is a force that clouds vision, distorts reality, and keeps the soul from stepping forward in faith. Yet, the one who trusts in the Lord stands firm, knowing that no darkness can overcome the light of God's presence. Consider the strength of those who have walked before, men and women whose faith outweighed their fears. The armies that surrounded them, the trials that threatened them, none of it mattered, because they understood that their protection did not come from earthly defenses, but from the presence of God Himself. Fear was real, but it had no authority. Faith made them unshakable, even in the midst of uncertainty. There is a tendency to measure security by what can be seen, by walls built, plans made, and resources stored. But true security is not found in earthly measures. It is found in the unwavering presence of God. When He is the light, there is no need to stumble in the dark. When He is salvation, there is no reason to live in fear of destruction. In the Bible we are said, "Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me." This is not a promise of an easy path, but of a sure presence. The valley exists, the shadows fall, but fear loses its grip, because God walks alongside His people. Every day presents a choice, to live bound by fear or to step forward in faith. The mind may entertain doubt, but the heart must be anchored in truth. Faith does not require an absence of fear. It requires trust in something greater than fear itself. It is in looking beyond the visible, in believing before seeing, that faith transforms into a force capable of overcoming anything. Fear will always attempt to make its case, to present its arguments, to whisper its threats. But faith answers with a confidence that is not self-made, not dependent on circumstances, but rooted in the unwavering reality of who God is. When the heart understands this, fear no longer controls the narrative. Faith does. Darkness is not only the absence of light, it is the absence of direction, of certainty, of truth. It is the moment when confusion takes hold, when doubts grow louder than faith, when the path ahead seems lost in shadow. But the Lord is our light, and in His presence there is no room for darkness to remain. Where He is, clarity replaces confusion, truth overcomes deception, and hope rises where fear once stood. In Bible we are said, "The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it." Light is not something that negotiates with the dark, it drives it away. It does not ask permission to shine, it simply does. The presence of God is like that, unchanging, unwavering, unchallenged by anything that would attempt to obscure His truth. Those who walk in this light do not stumble as the world does, for their steps are guided by something far greater than human understanding. The world offers its own versions of light, wisdom wrapped in uncertainty, guidance that shifts with culture and time. But these are only flickering candles compared to the brilliance of God's truth. The one who places trust in earthly wisdom finds themselves lost when storms come, but the one who anchors their life in God walks with confidence, knowing that no shadow can hide His presence. In Bible we are said, "Your word is a lamp to my feet and a light to my path." It is not the world that determines the direction of those who trust in God. It is His voice, His truth, His unshakable promises. There will always be moments when the way forward is unclear, when doubt whispers that God is distant. But just as the sun does not cease to exist when clouds cover the sky, neither does God's presence fade when clouds come. His light remains, constant and sure, revealing what is true even when everything else seems uncertain. There is a reason that darkness is often associated with fear. It blinds, it distorts, it creates the illusion of threats that may not even exist. But when the light of God illuminates the path, fear loses its hold. The unknown is no longer something to dread, for it is seen through the lens of trust. Even in the deepest night, those who walk with Him are never abandoned to the shadows. In Bible we are said, "The people walking in darkness have seen a great light." This is not just a promise for the past, for those who lived in ancient times. It is a reality for today, for those who seek God now, for those who desire to walk in truth rather than in uncertainty. The world will continue to present illusions of wisdom, of guidance, of direction, but they will always fall short. The light of the Lord does not flicker, does not fade, does not fail. It remains unwavering and true for all who choose to walk in it. There is no force in this world more capable of shaking the human heart than fear. It creeps in through uncertainty, through the unknown, through the threats that life presents. It whispers that security is fragile, that safety is temporary, that danger is always near. But those who trust in the Lord do not stand on unstable ground. They are anchored in a strength that is unshaken by the storms of life. Confidence in God's protection is not based on circumstances, but on His unwavering nature. In Bible we are said, "The Lord is my refuge and my fortress, my God in whom I trust." This is not just a hopeful thought or a fleeting encouragement. It is a declaration of truth. A fortress does not fear the approaching enemy, nor does a stronghold crumble at the sound of battle. Those who take refuge in God are not left defenseless, for His presence is their shield, His faithfulness their protection. No force, no opposition, no trial can stand against the security found in Him. The world defines security by what can be seen: locked doors, financial stability, health, and control over circumstances. But these things are temporary, subject to change, never truly certain. The one who relies on them for protection will always find themselves at risk, for the world offers no guarantees, but the one who places confidence in God stands firm. knowing that true security does not come from external conditions, but from the unshakable nature of the one who holds all things. In Bible we are said, "If God is for us, who can be against us?" There is no power, no opposition, no enemy capable of overthrowing the plans of God. No hardship, no trial, no threat can undo the protection He provides. This does not mean life will be without struggle, but it does mean that struggle will never have the final word. The enemy may rise, but he will not prevail. Fear may speak, but it will not dictate the outcome. The one who trusts in the Lord walks forward with boldness, not because they are strong in themselves, but because they are protected by the one who is greater than all things. Confidence in God's protection does not come from the absence of danger, but from the presence of the Almighty. It is the assurance that no battle is fought alone, that no hardship is faced without His covering. It is the understanding that, even in the midst of trials, He is there, shielding, guarding, sustaining. In Bible we are said, "You will not fear the terror of the night, nor the arrow that flies by day." Fear is real, but it is not victorious. Threats may arise, but they do not define the future. When the heart is anchored in God, there is no need to tremble. There is no need to retreat. There is no need to live in uncertainty. There is only trust, only confidence, only the unshakable assurance that He is always in control. There is something deeply transformative about being in the presence of God. The world is filled with noise, with distractions that pull the heart in 1,000 directions, yet none of them truly satisfy. There is always another pursuit, another goal, another desire left unfulfilled. But the soul was not created to be satisfied by temporary things. It was made for something far greater. To dwell in the presence of God is not just to visit occasionally, but to abide, to remain, to make His presence the very home of the heart. In Bible we are said, "One thing I ask from the Lord, this only do I seek, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to gaze on the beauty of the Lord and to seek Him in His temple." This is not the request of someone looking for a moment of comfort, but of someone who understands that true life is found in communion with God. The longing to be near Him is not born out of duty or obligation, but out of the realization that nothing else compares. There are many things in life that promise fulfillment: success, relationships, achievements, material possessions. They offer moments of joy, but they are fleeting, unable to sustain the soul in the way it truly needs. But the one who seeks after God finds something that does not fade. His presence is not just a place of refuge, it is a place of transformation. The more time spent with Him, the more the heart aligns with His desires, the more faith is strengthened, and the more the soul finds rest. In Bible we are said, "Come near to God, and He will come near to you." There is no reluctance on His part, no hesitation to receive those who desire to dwell with Him. But drawing near requires more than just words. It requires a heart that prioritizes His presence above all else. It is easy to become distracted, to allow the concerns of life to take precedence, to treat time with God as something that fits in when convenient. But to truly dwell in His presence means making Him the first desire, the greatest pursuit, the foundation upon which everything else stands. In Bible we are said, "Better is one day in your courts than 1,000 elsewhere." This is not poetic exaggeration. It is a reality understood by those who have truly experienced what it means to walk closely with Him. There is no comparison between the temporary joys of the world and the eternal joy found in His presence. To dwell with Him is not only to experience His peace, but to be changed by it. The anxieties that once seemed overwhelming lose their power. The fears that once held a firm grip begin to fade, and the soul finds itself secure, no longer restless, no longer searching, because it has found its home in Him. Waiting is one of the most difficult things to do, especially when answers seem delayed, when prayers feel unheard, and when the soul longs for resolution. The natural desire is for immediate results, for solutions to come quickly, for God to move in a way that aligns with human timing. But faith is not built in the moments of instant gratification. It is shaped in the waiting. The seasons of delay are not empty. They are purposeful, refining the heart, strengthening trust, and teaching patience that can only come from reliance on God's perfect timing. In Bible we are said, "Those who wait on the Lord will renew their strength." Waiting is not a passive state, not an absence of movement, but an active trust that God is working even when nothing seems to change. It is in these moments that faith is stretched, where dependence on Him deepens, where the heart learns that true strength does not come from controlling the outcome, but from surrendering to His will. There is a renewal that happens in waiting, a transformation that cannot take place when everything comes easily. The world moves quickly, always pushing toward the next achievement, the next breakthrough, the next answer. It does not value waiting. It sees delay as failure. But God does not measure time as man does. What feels like a delay is often divine preparation. The waiting is not wasted. It is a season where God is working beneath the surface, aligning things in ways unseen, shaping the heart so that when the answer does come, it can be received with wisdom and readiness. In Bible we are said, "Be still and know that I am God." There is a kind of stillness that only trust can produce, a confidence that does not waver in the face of uncertainty. To wait on the Lord is not to stand idle, but to rest in the assurance that His plans are unfolding exactly as they should. It is the ability to let go of the need to force outcomes, to resist the urge to move ahead of His timing, and to believe that He is never late. In Bible we are said, "The Lord is good to those who wait for Him, to the soul who seeks Him." His goodness is not absent in the waiting, it is revealed in it. The longing, the expectation, the endurance, none of it is overlooked by Him. The answers will come, the doors will open, the breakthrough will arrive, but it will happen in the time that is best, in the way that fulfills His greater purpose. Those who learn to wait on Him do not grow weary in the process. They are strengthened by it. Their faith is not diminished, it is refined. They do not walk away empty. They emerge with a deeper trust, a stronger spirit, and a heart that has learned that the waiting is not a burden, but a blessing in disguise. Courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to move forward despite it. There will always be moments when fear whispers that retreat is the safest option, that the risk is too great, that the challenge is too overwhelming. But faith is not built in comfort, it is forged in the places where trust in God is the only option. To walk with Him is to walk with boldness, not because of personal strength, but because He is the source of all strength. In Bible we are said, "Be strong and courageous, do not be afraid, do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." This is not an empty encouragement but a divine command. Fear will always try to make its case, listing reasons why failure is inevitable, why opposition is too great, why the future is uncertain. But courage rooted in God is not dependent on circumstances. It is anchored in the unshakable truth that He goes before His people, that He fights battles on their behalf, that His presence is enough. There is a choice in every moment of uncertainty, to shrink back or to step forward in faith. The mind may entertain doubt, but the heart must choose to trust. There is no promise that the path will be easy, no guarantee that obstacles will immediately disappear, but there is an assurance that God never calls His people into something without also equipping them to walk through it. The greatest victories come not in avoiding challenges, but in facing them with unwavering confidence in His power. In Bible we are said, "The righteous are as bold as a lion." True courage is not reckless, it is not the absence of wisdom or careful thought. It is a deep, abiding confidence in the faithfulness of God, a refusal to let fear dictate the future. There will always be reasons to hesitate, always moments when stepping out in faith feels impossible. But the one who trusts in God does not stand alone. His presence is not distant. His strength is not limited. The same power that calms the storms, that shuts the mouths of lions, that brings victory against impossible odds, is at work in those who put their confidence in Him. In Bible we are said, "Do not throw away your confidence, it will be richly rewarded." Fear has a way of convincing the soul that standing firm is too costly, that trusting God will lead to disappointment. But those who choose courage, who refuse to let fear win, who place their trust fully in Him, will never be put to shame. There is nothing in this world greater than the one who holds it all. The step of faith may feel uncertain, but His promises are sure. Fear will always attempt to have the final word, but it is silenced in the presence of unshakable faith. Those who trust in Him walk forward, not because they know what the future holds, but because they know the one who holds it. Faith is not just believing in God, it is trusting Him completely, even when circumstances seem uncertain. Fear, doubt, and waiting will always challenge faith, but they are opportunities to grow deeper in dependence on Him. God's light drives away darkness. His protection stands firm against every trial. His presence satisfies the soul, and His timing is always perfect. The call to courage is not about self-reliance, but about knowing that He is with us, strengthening, guiding, and preparing the way. In Bible we are said, "Blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord." This trust is not misplaced, for He has never failed and never will. Those who stand firm in faith will not be shaken. No matter what comes, the Lord remains faithful. So walk boldly, wait patiently, seek Him wholeheartedly, and know that His promises are sure. He is the strength that never wavers.